Hey everybody, welcome back to the Real Estate Broadcast. I am your host, Brad Gandell, and today we are going to be talking about not just the experience of purchasing a home, but purchasing a home during a pandemic. And I could not have thought of a better person to interview. A, she's a client of mine, but B, the whole process for her started prior to the pandemic. So, um, Sammy, welcome.
Hi, thanks for
So
having me.
yeah, no, appreciate you doing this for me. And by the way, she just bought her first place. We're actually doing the podcast at her house from a distance, of course, and it's looking really good. You guys are going to be moving in pretty soon, yeah?
Yeah, I think we're hoping within the next couple of days.
Very cool. So yeah, so you started looking. Actually, what was it? Summer of last year, so summer 2019.
Yeah, I think maybe late summer, early fall.
Okay, so do you want to kind of explain to everybody how that process went for you and everything like that?
Yeah, so we started looking early fall, I believe, and we were looking at townhouses first in like the Simi Moore Park area. And then there wasn't a lot on the market. There were a couple things, but they were all kind of nearing deals. We had actually found something, put in an offer, and then it didn't go through. And then just really there was nothing on the market going for the next couple of months. And then early, was it January or February? I think.
Something like that.
Yeah, early in the year we found the house that I ended up buying. I think at the end of probably 2019 I was thinking about seeing if I could end up buying a house instead of a townhouse. So it was a lot of looking and waiting for something to come up, and then when we found this I just really liked it, and then we wanted to do it.
Very cool. So yeah, so you started again back in the summer. Much easier to go see property.
Very
And
easy.
actually even when we saw this, it was a lot different compared to what we're going through now. So when we started, it was very just, hey, you see something, give me a call, make an appointment, go. Nowadays, it's if you see something or if we want to go see a place, okay, well, now we have to sign all these forms. I have to get them back to the agent before we even go see the house. And then we have to wear our masks and our gloves and our booties and all that stuff. We obviously didn't have to do that when you started looking originally.
Yeah, I think we got really lucky with this place too as far as timing, because even our inspection was like the beginning of the week before they shut everything down.
Yeah, it was what the first part of. I got back. What was it? The day prior from my bachelor party
Yeah, I think
was
it was
your
like the
inspection.
12th or something of March, and like, or like whatever, the 10th, something like that. And then they, by that Thursday, they were like, okay, everything has to be canceled.
Yeah, that's that was the timeline. Yeah, because I came back the day before, and that was a terrible idea to schedule an inspection the day after. Should have done it at least 2 or 3 days after, but we made it through. But yeah, kind of like you were just saying, everything changed, and your loan. And if you guys hear the airplanes, we're doing it in the backyard of her place. It's really peaceful actually, and feels really nice out here. Your loan was quite complicated, and you had some, I want to say bad luck, but there were guideline changes right before you purchased the house. And so the route that we were going to go as far as your loan, when the guidelines changed, that changed even the possibility of you being able to purchase.
Yeah, it was, I think initially we were supposed to close early April.
Mm-hmm.
And then we ended up, it really was pushed back, like I think an extra 45-ish days, because we closed.
Total. So we closed, what was it, mid-May?
Yeah, mid-May.
So yeah, so we ended up going out an extra 45 days total from the initial close date.
Yeah, so I think just all of the, with everything going on, all the banks were kind of a little less, I guess, excited to do a bunch of loans with all the people who were freaking out in the economy as it was.
Well, from yeah, the conversations I had with the lender, your lender, a lot of the folks were working out of the house. A lot of the underwriters, whoever it may be, were starting to get furloughed, unfortunately. So it made the loan process a lot slower. And because your loan was so difficult, it kind of took a I don't know how you want to describe it. It was kind of put on the back burner compared to the other loans that they could just push through no issue. And that's what I think really kind of slowed down the process with yours. And we were told, when this all happened, that escrows could be delayed and loans could take longer. So it wasn't an unexpected thing. But in my case, personally, not, with other clients, we've had no issues with the loans going through and everything. So you were just one of the special ones, one of the lucky ones. So when we were out looking, you bought this place. What was the initial reaction?
I think when you told me that they accepted the offer, I think I might have screamed actually on the phone when you told me, but it's really exciting, I think, just because you don't, it's like one of the largest purchases people make in their entire lives.
Yeah.
But also just it being like my first home and all of those things, and it having, like, the property itself had a lot of the things that I wanted when I went to look initially, that I think it made it so, even though I was upset kind of when some of the other things didn't work out, that it was kind of not necessarily fate, but like it worked out for the best because of what we ended up with here.
So the excitement,
Yeah, it was good. I think I was more excited when we finally were able to get in, like when I got the keys, when they finally moved out, just because it had been such a long process. I was like, I just want to be in there already.
It did feel like a little bit longer for you. That's definitely for sure. Were you doing any online shopping for furniture?
Yeah, I bought some stuff, and then I think, like, I had bought some stuff a while back, and then when it got closer, I bought, like, a lot more, just because it's so much more difficult now to even go shopping for the things that I would need, so you have to kind of online shop.
So with your furniture, did you get a chance to even go in and see it, or did you just buy it online?
I actually have a lot of furniture from my old apartment, but like I was able to go and look at paint swatches because those places are still open, but I bought like appliances and like pots and pans and stuff online, so I just had to go by what they had.
Gotcha. So you couldn't really go see those in person.
Yeah, no, just the reviews that people leave.
Amazon?
I don't know if I use Amazon for some stuff. I try to get
Target.
from like some more like smaller places.
Got it. Support the mom and pop shops.
Yeah.
So when we saw this place, it was still similar to what it was prior to the pandemic, or before the virus became a pandemic. We didn't have to wear masks and everything. We were able to just make the appointment and get into the house. With your home inspection, you mentioned it right before the pandemic hit out here was when you had the home inspection, so we didn't have really any issue. But after the home inspection is when it all hit, and that's when it really changed. So remind me, the last time you were here after the inspection was not until the final walkthrough?
Yeah, I think it was maybe like a month. Well, we did the final walkthrough at the beginning of May.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was the first time, and then after that I didn't come here until...
So that was about a month and a half since you were last here. And Sammi bought the house prior to it hitting the market, so it wasn't like she had a whole lot of photos to go off of. In fact, there was just one exterior photo. Mm-hmm. So were you able to remember a lot of the house?
I did. It's just hard to explain to other people.
Yeah.
You can't really, like, you can try to draw a picture or like explain, but like sizing is hard to explain. So it was a little difficult. But I mean, the general picture I remembered, but there were times that I was like, oh, I wish I could get the pictures that I know they got taken.
See it in person and everything. Because every time, again, you only saw it twice. Every time clients go in, the more and more they see the house. I mean, you just told me when I came in right now that you found way more stuff that you didn't even realize was there originally. So we came back. This is when things got a little different. This is when we had to sign the PED form. We had to wear the masks. We could not have more than 2 people. We had the seller here, but the seller had to stay in the backyard. So what was that like for you, having to experience all that, where you went from no restrictions to all of a sudden, wow, I can't even go in without having to wear all this stuff, and I can't touch things and things like that?
Yeah, it was definitely interesting. I mean, I'd been wearing the mask just going out in general when I would have to go out, but the distancing and like the sellers having to be outside was kind of strange, just because you do kind of feel a little awkward, like you're kind of just walking through their home when they're there.
Somebody else's home still.
And then we had actually we needed to get extra people to sign the waiver.
Yeah, because
we had a painter coming by to give a quote as well, so they could see it, since we couldn't really get in just to see it. So it was kind of like I had to basically say everything that I wanted when I met with them at that point, because we couldn't really get back in until they would be coming here for the job.
Yeah, and I know one of the guys that we had come over, I talked to him and I tried to tell him over the phone, I'm like, hey, this is the house, this is the floor plan, this is the layout, size, and all that. And he's like, Brad, I can only give you so much of it if I have to get in and see it. And I had to explain to him, like, I understand we're just so limited right now. And obviously the sellers were super cool with allowing us to come back and do it, because
they didn't have to.
Yeah, there's people that aren't coming in to do their walkthroughs, or the sellers aren't letting them. They just don't feel really comfortable with it. And yeah, the painters had to sign those PED forms too.
Yeah.
It was only you and the painter in the house.
Mm-hmm.
Even I was out front. I couldn't even go in with you because we had the limit.
Yeah,
Crazy.
It was definitely weird. It's just a weird experience. I mean, it's great that that everyone's kind of doing their part, but it's weird because as like just one person, you don't always see everything.
Mm-hmm.
Like even when I came back in after I bought in, got the keys and everything, and the painter was here, I was like, oh, actually, I kind of want you to do that if you can. Or we ended up like, changing colors and all that, because you can't really test the colors since you're so limited on time when you are going through with all of the restrictions.
That was the worst part. I wouldn't say I made that mistake on my house, but like you bring the swatches back and you put it up. Oh yeah, that looks good. But then you realize, wait, the sun hits this part at a different time, and not that I don't like the paint color on my house, but I wish I would have had a redo. But it wasn't anything crazy expensive. So overall experience, not talking about me helping or any of that stuff. How was it for you? What did you expect? Was there anything you didn't quite realize? Because again, I thought you were the perfect candidate. You had such a roller coaster of where we started with townhomes, and then we were able to get the loan where it worked out in your favor to get a single family house, which was the goal originally, starting last year, and then now finishing during a pandemic.
Yeah, I think I've heard before, like, it can take a really long time to get a place, but when you find the one that you want, it just kind of like works out and moves smoothly, which for the most part it really did. It's just this whole pandemic thing kind of extended it, but just the process of everything, it's it's complicated, but it's not too complicated as long as you have people that are walking you through it. But I think, it's fun, like, in general, like, going to look at houses and everything and then finding one that you like is really fun. It's also very, very overwhelming.
You get to learn your style and what it is you like and don't like and everything like that.
Yeah, because I think a lot of the places we had looked at were very different.
Yeah, well, and, we got kind of the idea of what you're looking for, just more of the openness, obviously a little bit more modern floor plan, modern finishes, and everything like that.
The garage was a definite.
Yeah, well, you definitely have that here. One thing I want to backtrack a little bit, forgot to mention this. So when you signed your loan docs, that was completely different compared to what most people do. You want to touch on that a little bit? Yeah,
so the loan docs, the escrow company they emailed them to me so I could review them, and then they ended up hand dropping them off to my house where I was living in the morning on like a Saturday or something, for me to go through and sign anything that did not need to be notarized. So I kind of did that part on my own versus going into their office or doing it wherever it would happen normally. And then when we were doing the notary part, the notary came to the house and we literally did it like on the driveway, like 6 feet apart. Like, she filled in the information based on like my ID for the notary, and then she had me like gloves on and all that. Like, she would go on the other side, and then I would like go up and do the thumbprint myself, because so she could see me, but so we could maintain distance. So it was a very interesting process.
How long did that take for the notary, because they only had to notarize a few things for you.
Yeah, so the notary, it was actually really quick because probably like 85% of the documents I could just sign.
Mm-hmm.
So it was
and you'd
easy
already
enough.
signed them through your closing disclosure prior anyway.
Yeah, so I'd already seen a lot of the stuff, and then everyone kind of was able to answer all the questions anyway if I had them. But I think it was like she dropped them off in the morning, and then she came back around like 4 in the afternoon or something. It was actually really funny because she called me like right when I was getting in the pool to go swimming, and I was like, oh, hold on, gotta go notarize, loan documents.
Yeah, the important stuff.
Yeah.
Right? I refied when I refi October, November, something like that, and the notary came in. We were literally sitting right next to each other. She was in and out in half hour. But yeah, didn't have to worry about all that stuff.
Yeah, it was as efficient as they could have made it with these weird restrictions we have, so it wasn't terrible, and I didn't really have to go anywhere, so it wasn't really any sort of like problem for me.
Yeah.
It was just weird, she was like, just try to, like, if you can, like, sign the documents with like gloves on, if you have them, which I had, and try to use like the same pen and don't really touch anything other than the papers and the pen while you're wearing them. So it was very interesting, and like I don't think I've ever really signed anything with gloves on before.
That's crazy.
But
that's just crazy.
It worked out. It was just it's a very unique experience. Not many people have had it, I guess.
Yeah, and we'll see what happens. Obviously, in my opinion, I think until we finally find a virus is when things will start to get back to normal. And as far as seeing properties and signing loan documents, I think kind of what we've talked about is going to be the norm for the next foreseeable future.
Yeah, I don't really know. We'll see.
But did any of this like scare you off from wanting to buy the house or close the deal or any of that stuff? Were there thoughts when you were in escrow like maybe I should hold off on this, anything like that?
No, I think a couple people who people that I know from work and things were kind of like, oh, well, because of everything that's going on, like, do you want to, like, you should just wait because, the market probably will go down because of everything. And I was like, why would I? It could also go up. Like, you never know. Like, there's still not a huge...
Which
it
was
still is a demand.
The big if was that an early indicators for the last part of March and all of April is that it has. And based on some of the stuff that's closed in your neighborhood, you've already made a few bucks as far as the house goes.
Yeah, so I was like, also, I'm already in this process. I like the place. I don't want to lose it. So why not just, like, there was nothing that was going to really make me want to back out.
You had the job security, too. That was, I think, the big thing. When there's people looking to buy now, and it's crazy. It's been so busy as far as buyers and people going out, and I'm showing property and there's 10 offers on a place in 2 days. I had somebody ask me today to check out a place, and I called the agent. They said, just heads up, 6 offers, 3 days. They were already listed high, and they got stuff 20-30 grand over what they were looking for. So it's been just absolutely wild. But if there's people, I know there's a lot who are less fortunate, but the ones who are fortunate enough to still have job security and everything like that, it is a good time and a good opportunity to buy that first time home. And a lot of the folks looking to make the move up from the entry level to maybe the mid-entry or the mid-level homes, or even the upper tier of the market is a good opportunity to take advantage of. So in my opinion, I think you did make the right call. Again, you've moved in and you already have equity in the house because of some of the neighbors have closed escrow.
Yeah, I don't know. I just, after having been through the beginning part of the process, I was like, I don't want to have to go find something again. Like, I think
and that would have been
really
at
lucky.
Least another 30 more days.
I know. I think we got really lucky because we were able to see the place before it went on the market.
That's true. And I will give a major shout out to the agent and the seller for working with us through the whole process. The seller was in a unique situation as well with, they were building a home out of not just the area, but out of the country. And so they're like, yeah, we'll give you guys a little bit extra time, which, again, wasn't originally planned.
Yeah.
But when we came back and said, hey, we're going to probably need another 45 days, are you guys cool with that? And they said, yeah, as long as we know the loan's going to close, in which we were pretty confident it was going to. They're like, yeah, and they really liked you too, which also played a huge part into it.
Yeah, it was nice. They left like a little orchid and a card when
We walked in.
Yeah, it was nice.
I remember that little bottle of champagne too.
No, that was from someone else.
Oh, got it. Very cool. Do you have anything else you want to add, and any advice for anybody looking to purchase a place right now and kind of what to expect?
I think the only advice I would say is don't settle for something just because you feel like things aren't out there, because there were times when I was like, oh, well, maybe I could make this work, even though it was like, eh. So I'm I'm really happy that I did kind of just stick it out until I found something that I really did like versus something that I was like, oh, I could make this work. So it's definitely stressful during that part, because especially if there is not a lot on the market, or it's, there's crazy offers on stuff, but it's definitely worth it to get something that you actually really want to be in versus something that you could maybe make work.
Yeah. Well, it's good advice, and yeah, like you said, don't settle. If you don't, and most people have that feeling right when they walk in. If you don't like it or love it as soon as you walk in, you'll know. You'll have that gut feeling. So, well, thank you so much for giving your input. Again, on what's going on. I couldn't have thought of anybody better to be able to do this with. It was planned to interview one of my buyers, but because you started so early in the process, I thought, oh my goodness, this is even better. So thank you for being here and sharing all your knowledge and experience, and you're very welcome. So hope you guys take care, be safe. We'll talk soon.